Is Star Wars dead? That's a tough question. Quick answer, no. So all over social media, since The Acolyte, we've been seeing how Star Wars is dead. You know, it's destroyed, it's dead, it's dead. You can't continue to say a franchise is dead just because it's not being successful at that time. What's my point? My point is Star Wars was dead when George Lucas was in charge. And that was as far as stagnant. Nothing new was coming for it. George's own words, I'm done, it's done, the story is complete, there's nothing more to add. Disney buying it had a lot of people scared, right? They were like, oh, they're going to ruin it, they're going to do this. Well, the fact that they had a pretty good track record with Marvel at that time, it seemed like, hey, this is in the right direction. They could actually do something with this. This is something where we can go forward and have new adventures, new characters, and just take it to the next level. It actually brought it back. So since then, we've had great things such as Mandalorian. In my opinion, which a lot of people don't like, the episode 7, 8, 9, I think that's better than nothing. Now, they all have their flaws. They all have their problems. That being said, just so you know, I am not the critical drinker. I am not nerdrotic. Those guys, they're the Star Wars theory. They're at a level where they are MLB managers. They are at the top. They are the elite. I would be what you call inner city wreck ball.
What are you gonna call that? Dude, he was saved by 3 steps!
I teach kids coach pitch, right? To where I go, hey, you know what? Good job, good effort, good hit. Where I see something, I go, hey, that has potential. Hey, I just watched that, and out of the 30 minutes, I enjoyed 17 minutes of it. I missed the things that real experts, real writers, real creators, real people that actually know, hey, how is a story made? But the whole thing is with Star Wars and those experts, there's not a lot of them. So that's why they're so big on YouTube when they do that. That's what they get it out, because then other people like myself, who is a subscriber to all those guys mentioned, I watch and I go, hey, you know what? That's a great point. I never thought of that. I never thought of that. I'm one of the ones where I just sit there and go, let's see what's positive. That said, with The Acolyte itself, I watched all 8 episodes, went through all of them. I waited till it was completely done. I did hear some of the talk about it, and then I went through all of them with my 14-year-old son. What was our verdict? About 30% of the series was enjoyable. The rest was just waste of time, bad writing, bland acting. I don't know, sometimes you put it, is it the actors themselves or is it the directors? I always put Anakin's robotic acting on George Lucas. I never thought Hayden Christensen couldn't act. The fact that we see him now in Disney doing an excellent job, I loved him in Ashoka, and I love the series Ashoka. So although if you watch it, put a pin in here, with Ahsoka, they probably could have cut a whole episode out, just, of time-wise, if you didn't have these long dramatic pauses. You feel like watching that, you're like, hey man, can you spit it out? Let's get this thing moving. It's almost like The Hobbit, where you're stretching it as much as you can. That said, Hayden Christensen, ever since he's been back, has been amazing, and he's already been in other movies where he showed he could act. But watching those, I always put it on George Lucas, because he just made him so unhuman-like, so robotic, and spoke in a way that you're like, no, nothing's relatable. Even Obi-Wan didn't speak like that. So I always put that on that. But back to this, Ahsoka, I loved it. Having Hayden Christensen come back, and him and Ahsoka, the chemistry was great. I would love to see a live action, the Clone Wars, to be able to go out there and do the Clone Wars live action, sign me up. Anyways, back to The Acolyte. The issue with this is that when I watch it, I'm a guy who goes, like when I saw the Rise of Skywalker, when I watched that, when I left it, I would have probably gave it 6.9 or 7 out of 10. Since then, I've watched it and I go, oh, maybe 6.5. Like, I've lowered it. I think the impact of the end, some of the things with it, I enjoyed the movie and I was glad it brought it to a close. But when you watch it, there are still scenes where you go, well, why is that? Why would he do that? Why did all of a sudden he can do this? And that's what you don't want to see. I didn't see that with the original Star Wars. You wouldn't see that. There were times in the prequel you might, where you would go, why is he doing that? And that's the thing with The Acolyte. You get so much of that. It's so much can be cleared up with just a sentence, with just a word, with just a saying. Like, so many different things can be cleared up if you just would speak your thoughts. And that becomes the frustrating part when you're watching a show. And the fact that, like I said, I'm a rec level reviewer. I watch it and I go, hey, Despicable Me, 1, 2, 3, 4. I love all of them. Our kids love all of them. But then you look at the Rotten Tomatoes, some of them, they're like, the ratings are way lower for the third Despicable Me 3. And I go, why? It was fun, enjoyable, good laughs, family humor. So maybe because with a lot of people, they are more in tuned into what's going on. And sometimes I might miss that. So I'm coming from a level of what's positive. Did I enjoy it? If I enjoy it, I don't care. I enjoyed, right here, I'm going to say it, I enjoyed The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi, I'm going to make a whole video on that for anyone who does care. There's a reason why that's probably my favorite of the last trilogy they did, and it's one of my favorite Star Wars movies ever, despite the fact that so many people hate it. So many people have problems with it. And it does have its problems. It's not without its flaws. But it put me through a movie that I've never experienced in a Star Wars movie, and that was I didn't know what was going to happen. I was blown away by everything, that all the dominoes that fell, where I was just like, wait, what? Oh, this is going to happen. You know, when you're as old as I am, you've seen movies, you go, yeah, this is going to happen. This and this and this will happen. Nothing, man. It was blown out of the water. None of that happened for me with Last Jedi. And with The Acolyte, it was, I didn't get any surprises. Like, you knew it. You knew what was going on from the beginning. Heck, they even ruined it with the previews where we knew there was twins. But they blew an opportunity to make a good suspense series. They blew an opportunity to make characters that we care about. And I just felt like there was only very minimal character traits with them. I did like Yord. I did like the Padawan. I can't remember her name, but the character, because like I said, I've only watched the series once. But I really enjoyed her. I liked her character. So it's like, and that was a disappointing thing. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen it, my son and I, we got to watch them both die in the same episode, and we're both like, hey, we like them. And I don't think that's brave. Like the reviews, people would say, oh, I think it's so awesome that you would kill off these characters. You know, that's great. So many people don't do that. You know, Leslie Headland, great job at killing off the characters. And I'm like, well, not really. Not when you could have had them live, because you're trying to build a world. You're trying to build a character. If you're trying to build a season 2, why don't we take something that we love from that? Like, you killed off 2 people that had nothing to do with the past events 16 years before. You want to kill off all those, Saul, all them, so be it. Saul, you know, regardless if he did the wrong thing, he disobeyed the Jedi Order, which he did. He still, I don't think he had to be killed for what he did. You know, it's just, there's just so many things where you find yourself talking and you shouldn't. When I watch Mandalorian, I don't watch it and go, oh, why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he do this? How come this in here? You just watch it and go, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's what you want to look for as a casual fan. You want to see, now Star Wars, I'm a diehard fan, but I don't have all the books. I've only read like 3 books ever. But when it comes to Star Wars, I'm a diehard fan. But in these series, I'll take it for what it is. Ahsoka, I enjoyed it a lot. Mando, Book of Boba Fett, I enjoyed it, minus the Vespas. You could have did without that, you know. But I did enjoy Book of Boba Fett. And people hate that, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. You can dislike it. I don't have a problem with that. What I don't like is what you got with the Acolyte series, which and that's what makes it so hard. It's like, I'd like to go watch it a second time, but then it's what stops me is I go, you kill off the people I really like. I get a few good action scenes. Is that worth investing basically 7.5 hours worth, whatever it is? Is that worth it? And I go, it hasn't made me go back yet. Because I go, oh, you know, I don't want to just skim through and see that. I just rewatched Ahsoka again last week. Loved that. I loved it. But I can't seem to go back and want to watch The Acolyte. And I don't care if they make a season 2. And that's the big story now. Are they going to make a season 2? Right? They left you hanging. Yoda shouldn't have even been in the show. But they do that. The other green lady, what's her name? It begins with a V. Even she, you don't like her. You don't care about her. So the people you seem to not care about, like May and Osha, I'm like conflicted. 1 minute they're good, bad. They can't decide. They're flip-flopping all over the place. When you make a character like that, and this is just from an average guy, even I would say, how am I going to invest in that? How am I going to care about that character? What makes me care about a character that 1 minute is bad, then becomes good, and it's going to give up, then goes back to being bad, then doesn't know what it is at the end, and then the other one is good, watches friends die, falls for a guy who just killed them all, and now I kind of liked Osha before, and now I'm like, wait a minute, you turned on a dime for, it doesn't make sense. Like that's not a typical human trait in the way it happened. And I think that's what's frustrating when you watch this. So it's hard to go back and watch it, because anyone I didn't care about, other than Chimera, I thought he was cool, right? He had his moments. You know, it's a little off, hit and miss with him. But I do like the mask with the smile. A little creepy. You know, it's a little Nicolas Cage. What was that? 8mm. It does give the Nicolas Cage 8mm vibe. that can be weird at times. But he was cool. My son liked him. The lightsaber fights were cool. They did not live up to the Duel of the Fates expectation as they tried to play it out to be. But if I had to say, have you ever seen Acolyte? Would I recommend it? I would recommend it. Say, yeah, go give it a watch and make your own judgment, because there are a small few that do love it. But sometimes I wonder, are they even real fans? Because the way they present it, they just keep pushing it, and you're like, you feel like you might be a shill for Disney. Because I'm a huge fan of, like I said, The Last Jedi, and even I'm not going out defending it and fighting people for it constantly on social media. I just like it, and I don't care what anyone else says. But with this, I would say watch it. Be prepared to have some unevenness, but look out for some cool scenes, and don't get attached to too many people in the show. But as far as Star Wars being dead, no. This is talking about the Acolyte. Star Wars is not dead. It's going to keep coming. There will be something next, but probably not the Acolyte, but it'll be something else that comes across to where something else will come up. We got the Mando Grogu movie just announced for May 2026. Other series will be coming up. As long as Disney is making Star Wars, it will never be dead, because we'll continue to get new things. You got to think they're eventually going to say, we got to get this straight, right? With Deadpool, Wolverine, we just saw some Marvel flops, and now that's a success. Doesn't mean every series they bring along is going to have multiple series spin-off from it, but I think Star Wars as a whole will always be alive. It will always have fans, and even if it's good or bad, it's divisive. It gets you talking, and it gets us engaged. Like I said, characters I did enjoy from here. I would like to see what happens with Chimere. They brought Plagueis in. I don't know. The series, it didn't make me go at the end of the series. It didn't make me go, ooh, I got to see season 2. Let's do it, And I just don't think it's coming. But if it does, I'll check it out. I'll watch it. But when you see the other experts, like I said, Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, Star Wars series, those guys know they are 100% correct when they do their breakdowns. They are not haters. They love the series. They've been around before everyone else. I mean, I don't know. I'm in my late 40s, so I've been around as long as they have. I'm older than them, some of them. But I've never seen Star Wars as a kid in theaters. So yeah, so it is something that I've been around. They know more though when it comes to the inside outs. They are the experts. So when I hear them, I don't think they're haters. They want success. They want it to be big, and when it's not, it sucks, but it's never dead. That's my point of this video, is to talk about the Acolyte and to say, no, Star Wars is never dead. It'll always be around as long as there's fans and someone is willing to make the next movie. So thanks for watching. If you saw anything you enjoyed, give a like and subscribe, and look for more videos about Star Wars, family life, sports, everything else on our potpourri type channel. Thanks.